In January of 1985, in a remote mining town in the far east of Russia, an extraordinary incident occurred. Some have likened it to the Roswell incident. It was a cold January day when a reddish sphere entered the town from the southeast, crossing part of the Dalnogorsk before crashing into Izvestoye Mountain, also known as Height 611 due to its size. The sphere moved silently, parallel to the ground, measuring around 10 feet in diameter. It was perfectly round, and it was devoid of any protrusions or cavities. Witnesses, such as V. Kandakov, estimated the UFO's speed at approximately 50 feet per hour. The sphere exhibited an unusual behavior, slowly ascending and descending, with its glow intensifying when it rose. As it approached Height 611, it suddenly jerked and fell like a stone, an action that all witnesses described. Some even recounted seeing the vehicle jump twice, while 2 girls remember it jumping 4 times. Following the second jump, witnesses heard a faint, muffled thump, and the object burned brightly at the cliff's edge for an hour. A geological expedition, led by V. Skavinsky, confirmed the object's movements through various chemical and physical tests on the collected rocks. Dr. Zvuzhilny arrived at the site 2 days later to find the area covered in deep snow, with the crash site strangely devoid of snow. The crash site yielded fragments of silicate rocks exposed to high temperatures, resembling tiny nets. These so-called tiny nets that were recovered contained thin threads interwoven with even finer fibers and thin gold wires, and these materials proved difficult to reproduce using earthly technology. Iron balls at the site exhibited varying chemical compositions, suggesting that the object was a complex construction made from different alloys. But the convex glass-like structures on half of the balls baffled scientists. The glass-like structures remained an enigma, defying understanding of their structure and formation. The incident's impact extended beyond the crash itself, with an anomalous zone remaining active for 3 years. This zone deterred insects, disrupted mechanical and electronic equipment, and even made people ill. In the following years, more sightings of UFOs in the area occurred, and the mystery of Height 611 persisted. Japanese and Korean expeditions examined the site and sought to acquire fragments of the crashed object, reflecting ongoing interest in the case. Despite numerous investigations, the object's origins remains uncertain, with no conclusive evidence pointing to either terrestrial or extraterrestrial origins. However, there's been a long debate that, just like the Roswell incident in the US, bodies were recovered from the crash site. But then again, that's just speculation. This puzzling event, often overlooked, continues to intrigue a small community of researchers who are interested in its enigmatic details. They're not human. In May 2023, an unusual incident unfolded in Las Vegas, sparking a mix of curiosity and concern. It all began when an officer with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police captured a mysterious bright object streaking across the night sky on body camera footage at around 11:50 p.m. Then shortly after, a local resident made a frantic 911 call to report something out of this world in his backyard. The caller was visibly shaken, claiming that something 100% not human was staring at him and his family. They'd witnessed an object falling from the sky just before this eerie encounter. Describing the strange figures, the caller mentioned their extraordinary height, ranging from 8 to 10 feet, with big shiny eyes that looked anything but human. Responding to the call, 2 officers arrived at the scene, acknowledging their nervousness about the situation. They spoke with the family, who reiterated their account of a large 10-foot-tall creature they'd seen. The officers shared that one of their colleagues had also witnessed something falling from the sky earlier that evening, only adding to the intrigue. The police's curiosity led them to question neighbors about any unusual sightings of objects falling from the sky. The investigation extended for several days, but ultimately, the Las Vegas Police Department declared the incident as unfounded. This extraordinary event is part of a growing trend in the study of unidentified aerial phenomenon, commonly referred to as UFOs. The Department of Defense has reported tracking more than 800 such cases over the past 27 years, with only a small percentage found to have plausible explanations. The mystery of the Las Vegas incident, like many others, leaves us with more questions than answers. Mysteries in the sky. In early October 2023, Maryland residents found themselves at the heart of an ongoing fascination with mysterious objects in the sky, which some have labeled UFOs. However, these unidentified phenomena have a new acronym, UAPs, or Unidentified Aerial Anomalous Phenomenon. This change in terminology and the increased attention from both the public and government officials stem from the release of compelling video recordings depicting these elusive objects. UAP sightings have surged in recent years, prompting a shift in public perception. Notably, Congress conducted oversight hearings earlier this year, acknowledging the need to address these aerial enigmas. The videos typically showcase nondescript objects exhibiting extraordinary speed and unusual flight patterns without any discernible propulsion method. Peter Davenport, who directs the National UFO Reporting Center, highlights the increasing number of reports and the government's growing interest in the UAP phenomenon. Maryland alone has seen 1,923 reported cases. While experts remain divided on whether UAPs have extraterrestrial origins, they universally agree that there should be no stigma associated with reporting these sightings. UAP sightings aren't unique to Maryland, as similar reports have surfaced worldwide, with particular concentration along the United States coasts, the Middle East, and the South China Sea. As the intrigue surrounding these phenomena continues to grow, NASA took unprecedented steps in September, calling for better data collection and further study of UAPs. While NASA Administrator Bill Nelson expresses personal belief in the possibility of extraterrestrial life, there are concerns about the potential risks UAPs pose to military and commercial aircraft. There's speculation about whether these mysterious sightings are part of surveillance efforts by nations like China or Russia, prompting national security discussions. Greg Facello, a Port Deposit, Maryland resident, shared his bewildering experience with CBS News, describing an object unlike any natural occurrence he'd ever witnessed. He said the craft appeared in the night sky as if it were a shooting star or a comet. He was outside plugging in his electric car when the UAP made itself known, hovering strangely low in the sky. He even went as far as to claim that it looked like it was created by some intelligent life form. The fascination with UAPs raises fundamental questions about what lies beyond our planet. And as researchers with NASA and other government agencies delve deeper into these mysteries, we hope to uncover more about the enigmatic phenomena that continue to captivate our curiosity. What are your thoughts on the possibility of extraterrestrial life in the universe? And do you believe that there's convincing evidence to support it? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel. The alien bodies of Nazca. In September of 2023, Mexico witnessed a fascinating spectacle as two mummified specimens took center stage at the country's inaugural congressional hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomenon, commonly known as UFOs. Led by journalist and UFO researcher Jamie Maussan, a group of experts presented the mummified bodies, suggesting that these remains weren't of earthly origin. Their intention was to prompt the Mexican Chamber of Deputies to formally recognize UAPs, emphasizing the importance of airspace security and scientific study. The mummified bodies, originally discovered in 2017 in the sandy Peruvian coastal desert of Nazca, immediately captured attention due to their unusual appearance. Their shrunken, warped heads and desiccated forms left many in the chamber astounded and sparked a frenzy on social media. Maussan, while cautious not to label them extraterrestrials just yet, proclaimed these specimens as the queen of all evidence. He then urged that if DNA analysis indicated non-human origins and no earthly comparison, they should be treated as such. The mummy's underground resting place in Nazca, an area famed for its mysterious geoglyphs known as the Nazca Lines, added to the intrigue. And while these geoglyphs are traditionally attributed to ancient indigenous communities, they've long fascinated the imagination. Mosan asserted that the mummies provided clear evidence of non-human beings and that their DNA could be examined by any scientific institution if they thought otherwise. During the hearing, X-rays of the mummies were displayed, and experts noted that one of the bodies contained eggs. Congressman Sergio Gutierrez Luna emphasized that the Mexican Congress hadn't taken a stance on the claims made during the session. He stressed the importance of an open dialogue, allowing all voices and opinions to be heard. Congress members were left to decide for themselves whether to believe the presented argument. As you already know, the discussion on UAPs isn't unique to Mexico. Earlier in the year, a former U.S. intelligence community official testified about a purported covert government program focused on recovering and reverse engineering crashed alien spacecraft. But the Pentagon had previously stated that they found no verifiable information to support these claims. The growing bipartisan interest in UAPs, reflected in hearings and discussions, underscores the concern for national security posed by unidentified aerial objects. And while we remain uncertain about the origin and nature of these particular phenomenon, the quest for clarity continues on both sides of the border. A pilot's close encounter. In July 2022, Virginia pilot Julios Figueroa found himself in a situation that would become a remarkable memory in his aviation career. As an individual deeply passionate about flying from a young age, Figueroa had even served in the Navy to enhance his flight experience and become a more proficient pilot. After his Navy stint, he took up the role of a skydive pilot in the Midwest, and it was during one of these flights that something extraordinary occurred. On July 10, 2022, as Figueroa's plane ascended to 10,000 feet, a peculiar object caught his attention. Then, at around 4,300 feet, he spotted a spherical golden orb flying rapidly towards his aircraft from the left. What made his encounter particularly perplexing was the object couldn't be seen when looked at directly, a detail that's been noted by other pilots in their encounters as well. Describing the object as about the size of a small car, Figueroa found himself unintentionally turning his plane to the left as the object drew nearer. Startled, he let out a yell, prompting some of the people in the back of the plane, including one of the instructors, to look out the window and witness the unusual sight for themselves. However, by the time Figueroa managed to adjust his plane's trajectory, the object had already moved to the horizon, disappearing from view. Seeking answers, Figueroa contacted air traffic control, inquiring if they had any drones on the radar. But their response was that they had no drones on radar in the area at the time of the incident. Figueroa then made a second call, describing the object he'd seen, and once again, they couldn't detect it. His account echoed similar stories from pilots around the world who've experienced mysterious encounters. Figueroa remains vigilant during flights, keeping an eye out for any potential reoccurrences. With growing investigations into identified flying objects or UFOs and unidentified aerial phenomenon UAPs, such sightings may become increasingly common, intriguing aviation enthusiasts and researchers alike. Astrophotography. In November of 2020, 29-year-old Lily Nova, a resident of St. Louis, Missouri, ventured into the world of astrophotography to alleviate her lockdown-induced boredom. But little did she know that this hobby would lead to a series of captivating encounters with extraterrestrial phenomena, drastically altering her perspective on reality. Nova now asserts that she experiences daily encounters with aliens, punctuated by sightings of various otherworldly objects. Her accounts include metallic ships, mysterious black triangles, and orbs exhibiting movements that defy conventional understanding. Her initial brush with aliens and UFOs left a lasting mark on her. She recalls the intensity of that movement when she locked eyes with a bright, hovering light in her neighborhood. As she began investigating, she realized that this was no ordinary occurrence. It was a bona fide UFO. In mere seconds, her field of vision revealed a second craft, closer than the first. Its triangular form then became unmistakably clear. These UFOs, she claims, executed impressive maneuvers that defied the conventions of typical aircraft before vanishing above her. This initial experience profoundly shook Nova, revealing a realm of aliens and UFOs that had previously scarcely occupied her thoughts. It marked a reality-shifting experience, entirely transforming her perspective on the world. Following this initial encounter, Nova reports that such incidents grew increasingly frequent, becoming a daily occurrence. What sets her experiences apart is her claim of seeing the beings themselves. Among her encounters, she describes a girl with light blue skin, bald with a skin-tight gray suit, surrounded by shipmates in matching attire. Another group of beings she encountered had light blonde hair, fair and radiant skin, and bright blue eyes. Nova believes that these beings may communicate with her through telepathy, gradually introducing her to their presence. She speculates that their gestures and actions during her encounters were a way of gauging her response and readiness, as they seem to acknowledge her recordings. Nova's extraordinary journey into the realm of alien encounters has left her with profound questions about the nature of these beings and the mysteries they bring to her life. Did you see the lights? In the early hours of September 7, 2022, southern Arizonans were treated to a perplexing spectacle in the skies. At approximately 5:20 a.m. in Tucson, an unusual object made its appearance, captured on the University of Arizona Hydrology and Atmospheric Sciences webcam. This mysterious object seemed to be gliding westward or northwest, flying at a seemingly low altitude. The intrigue deepened as the object vanished from view, only to be succeeded by another enigmatic presence descending from the far left of the camera's frame. For residents of Arizona, such anomalous sightings aren't entirely unheard of, as the state has established itself as a hotbed for unidentified flying objects. In fact, it ranks among the top 6 states for UFO reports, according to the National UFO Reporting Center. Nick Pope, a former UFO investigator for the British Ministry of Defense and a personality on the TV series Ancient Aliens, resides in Tucson and finds the recent footage particularly captivating. He expressed that it's rare for him to see a piece of footage that seems to capture 2 completely separate UFO events. He said, "It's like 2 for the price of 1. It's an amazing piece of footage and a great catch." Pope shed light on the investigative process typically undertaken by governments in the UK and the US when faced with such sightings. It commences with interviewing witnesses and collecting their accounts. And although this instance was picked up on a remote camera, reports of the phenomenon came in from various parts of the US. The second step involves engaging with the military, as military activities can sometimes account for UFO sightings, such as aircraft exercises or flares being deployed. Radar data also plays a crucial role in corroborating visual sightings. However, in a somewhat anticlimactic twist, similar objects were sighted over parts of Kentucky, which meteorologists attributed to SpaceX Starlink satellites. The Planetary Science Institute and astronomers then shared this assessment. Meteorologist Arden Gregory also assured the public that there was no cause for concern. Pope didn't seem to agree with this theory, though. He chimed in, surmising that the object moving at a steady and level speed likely appeared to be a satellite. But as for the second object, what seemed to be descending toward Earth, he suggested that it was probably a fireball meteor. While the prospect of aliens would be a thrilling explanation, he seemed to lean toward the more ordinary possibilities. Nevertheless, he playfully expressed, "But if we're going to make first contact, I would love it to be Tucson." If you were alone and witnessed a spectacle of UFOs in the night sky, would you tell your friends and family about it, even though you know they might call you crazy? Or would you keep the encounter to yourself and try to forget all about it. Let us know what you would do in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.